Well, hello guys, it is that time once again for another edition of Odds and Ends, where I read some really weird news stories from all over the world, and hey, they don't call it Odds and Ends for a reason, you know? Now, I know I am late and I apologize for that, but I've had some personal issues going on in my life and stuff around me, so that explains why I have been late, so I apologize, and, personal stuff, just keep it to myself. I don't really want to talk about it. But so, anyways, I have this edition of Odds and Ends right in front of me, and I'm sure you guys have been fairly anxiously waiting for me to give you what's going on in the world and what's crazy and whatnot. So, without further ado, let's get going. Our first story comes out of China, where two young lovers prevented from seeing one another by their parents protested by stripping naked and standing on a bridge in crowded Guangzhou, Guangdong province. The couple kept police and rescuers at bay for more than 2 hours as they embraced in the buff on a flyover 300 feet above a busy motorway. Quote, "Our parents say we can't be together, but we want to show people we have nothing to hide," the couple shouted to gathering spectators. Bridge protests have been common in China, but public nudity is still considered shocking. Quote, "We waited for the high winds and the cold air to cool off their passion and eventually they gave themselves up," a police spokesperson was quoted as saying. Okay, you guys aren't allowed to see each other, but yet you love each other, so what do? You go to a bridge, strip naked, and stay there for what, 2 hours? More than 2 hours. What the fuck were you thinking? You guys could have come up with something better than this. Obviously. We have modern technology. Seriously. And how old are you guys anyway? If you're still living with your parents and they still prevent you from seeing one another, how old are you? And what the hell made you decide to do this? That's what I want to know. They need to be more responsible and blame the parents. Why are your parents not allowed to, or why are your parents not letting you guys see each other? Huh? That's what I want to know. Well, anyways, we're moving on to our next story, which comes out of Wisconsin, where a 33-year-old woman in Greenfield called 911 shortly before 12:45 a.m. on February 4th to say that her boyfriend was having some sort of extreme allergic reaction after helping her apply a fentanyl, or vinyl, I can't pronounce that for the life of me now. Fentanyl pain relief patch to her back. She said that her boyfriend had trouble applying the patch and believed his reaction was a result of it coming into contact with his skin. When they arrived, paramedics diagnosed the 40-year-old man's condition as a drug overdose. They became suspicious, though, when they located a crack pipe in his pants pocket. The man told police the pipe must have been left in his jeans from years ago when he used to smoke crack. Later, while recovering in a local hospital, the man admitted to rolling up and smoking the prescription pain patch. According to the Greenfield Patch newspaper, he told police he had never done it before and that it was his girlfriend's idea. He was arrested on possession of a Schedule II narcotic. The woman was arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia. Really, dude? You really have to smoke a freaking icy hot patch? Just because, oh yeah, my girlfriend decided, oh yeah, let's smoke an icy hot patch to see if it works. Oh. That's what happened. You smoke a freaking icy hot patch, and this is what happened. You freaking go into like a seizure, and you OD'd. Way to freaking go, dude. And then you say, oh yeah, I haven't smoked crack in years. Yeah. Obviously, you're full of shit, number one. Number two, you really think they're going to believe you when you say, oh yeah, I used to smoke crack a long time ago, and they found it in your pocket, and you've had those jeans for probably not that long ago, and it would seem very suspicious if you left it in your pocket and yet you didn't know about it, when probably you most likely did. You're just like, oh yeah, it's just like leaving your phone in your pocket, and you like keep it in there, and you do whatever with it, and then you wear it again, and you're just like, oh, my phone's in my pocket, I'm not gonna, so people ask me, I'm just gonna say, oh yeah, that was from a long time ago. Way to go, dude. That's absolutely smart thinking. Moving on to our next story, which comes out of Georgia, where police in Clayton County outside Atlanta reportedly made, quote, several traditional attempts to contact the family of 30-year-old Ricky Lamb to inform him that he had died. Quote, we made every possible attempt to apply the best practices when handling these sensitive matters, the department said in a statement. Quote, when those, quote, best practices failed, however, they made up a fake Facebook profile and had that person break the news to Lamb's mother. As reported in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Anna Lamb Creasy, I can't pronounce that, so I apologize, didn't even see her son's death notice until a month later. Because of the way Facebook handles messages from the individuals who are not, quote, friends, the message got dumped into a folder marked, quote, other and sat for some time before Lamb Creasy found it. The distraught mother told the Journal-Constitution that the message came from an account labeled, quote, Misty Hancock, whose profile featured a picture of Atlanta rapper T.I. Both Lamb Creasy and her daughter assumed the message about Ricky's death was fake. As time passed and no word from her son was heard, however, Lamb Creasy called the number listed on Misty Hancock's mysterious Facebook page. It was then that, quote, an officer gave her the bad news. The Clayton Police Department had apologized for the confusion. Quote, in an effort to prevent this from occurring again, immediate changes are being made. The department said in its statement. For starters, Clayton Police will launch an official Facebook page, preferably without pictures of T.I. Okay. Well, that's one way to get someone's attention, number one. Number two, you should have bugged this person numerous times until you finally got in contact with him to tell him that this happened. Because, obviously, it took this person a month to realize that her son was dead. A month. A month. Jesus Christ. Why didn't you just call this person, email them, go to their house in person and say, oh yeah, by the way, ma'am, we hate to tell you this, but your son is dead. It's not that hard, for Christ's sake. You have this person's information. They are a legal citizen. They are a citizen of the state of Georgia. It is not that hard to get someone's information, go to their place of residence, get their number, and tell them, or, you know, however way possible to get a hold of them and tell them, you know, the terrible news. But no, you had to do it over via Facebook, because apparently that's how dumb and lazy our society is going. And moving on to our last story, which comes out of Massachusetts, where a 10-year-old boy phoned 911 to report that he did not want to go to bed. Police in Brockton say the child called emergency services just after 8 p.m. on February 20th. He told the dispatcher he was calling to report his mother because she had told him it was time for bed. According to the Enterprise News, an officer came to the house to explain to the young man when it was appropriate to call 911. No charges were issued. Presumably, the boy was sent to bed. You know what? I've heard this story once before, but you know what? It wasn't from somebody else. This is my story. So do you guys want to hear this one? So, I was about maybe 4 or 5 years old at the most. And at the time, it was me, my younger sister, and my parents before they were divorced, and we were at my grandma's house in California before she moved out here. So, it was about 8 in the morning, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and everybody was still asleep, and me and my sister were awake, and so what we decided to do, she told me, call 911, just for shits and giggles. So, I did, and it was one of those old dial phones, like we had to do the, you know, the number, and then you had to let it go back, and then press the other one. Yeah, it was one of those. So I did the last one, and then as soon as it went back, I hung up the phone. About 15-20 minutes later, cop showed up to the door. My grandma answered it, and then she talked to the police. They left. She comes into the bedroom, and my sister is on the bed with the covers over her head, and I'm hiding behind the bed because we know we are in serious trouble. So, me being the stupid one, I took the blame. And you know what the lamest excuse I came up was? I couldn't turn on the TV. Yep, that was my lamest excuse ever. Then I went into the next room where my parents were sleeping, and of course woke up, and they were not exactly too mad at me though, but they just got very upset, and nor did I get punished or beaten or anything like that. But so yeah, You think you've heard that one, and you think that one from Massachusetts is bad? Mine was worse, and now you know. But anyways, guys, that is it for this edition of Odds and Ends, and I really hope you guys enjoyed listening to the stories as much as I like reading them to you. And we will see you Thursday for another edition. Until next time, we'll see you guys later, and take it easy.